So I just saw A Quiet Place, and it was good. I've been hearing about this thing nonstop for the past few days or so. All my friends have been coming up to me, been like, "You gotta see A Quiet Place. It's the best movie of 2018 or whatever year it is. It's so original. It's so new," and I agree. To a certain extent. Let me start with the good. I think there are a lot of really cool things about this movie, but I think the main one has to be the concept. I'm sure it was done before at some point or another, but I think that seeing a movie like this with an idea like this with a good old budget in 2018 felt pretty good. This movie also looks surprisingly great. I think that there are a lot of shots that are super crisp. They're pretty colorful. There's a nice contrast going on. There's this one shot of the dad and the son sitting by the waterfall, which was really nice to see. I don't know. The colors, they were just really nice to me. It was just a really pretty film. I just think this movie serves as a really good example of good original horror that is coming out nowadays. I think the industry is taking notice that people don't really get excited about movies like Paranormal Activity anymore. They're just kind of getting generic and predictable. And I think a movie like this is pretty awesome to see. It's a new concept. It's something different. I don't know. It's a good one to see. I do think that this movie falls into a lot of horror cliches, though. For one, a lot of the scare comes out of jump scares, which works. It's scary. I was scared. I'm not. Look at me. But it was just kind of disappointing considering how much potential this idea had. Everything I was scared of, I was just kind of expecting to get scared from. Just based on what I had heard about the plot. I don't know. It was really cool and it was scary. It was not necessarily bad, but it was just disappointing considering how much they had to play around with. Another flaw I had with the film was the amount of filler. I felt like this film had a lot of unnecessary stuff, sometimes full-on scenes that just had no impact on my experience. A prime example would be the Monopoly scene near the beginning. I don't think it was bad. It was entertaining. It was fun to watch. It was scary. But if you took that scene out of the movie, nothing would have changed. I want to say there was maybe 5 minutes where I was completely zoned out just thinking about what I had to do this week. And when I zoned back in, I realized I didn't miss anything. I looked back up and it was just John Krasinski building a fire and looking out into the woods for like 5 minutes and nothing really was happening. It wasn't bad, but like I said earlier, if you took that out, nothing would have changed. Something I appreciated was the film putting in some brief dialogue. After like 45 minutes of nobody talking at all, it was kind of a relief to actually hear some dialogue. My issue is the dialogue was really bad. It was super cheesy and corny and very surface level. I didn't really get that much out of it. The amount of things that they could have said, the amount of things they could have taught you about the characters in that brief time, and they didn't. Like, if you have only 2 dialogue scenes, you might as well make them really good and throw in as much information as you can. They just didn't really seem to do that, though. Let's see. And I wish they utilized the idea of the total silence a little bit more. There would be times where I'd be super invested in the scene because, it's completely quiet. It's a very tense atmosphere. There's no sound whatsoever. And then out of nowhere, some dramatic score would come in and I'd be like, come on. There are a ton of small things also that irritated me, like, why can the monster hear this and not this? Why? I don't know. It's not a big deal. It didn't really affect my experience, but it's just little things like that. Overall, I liked it. It was a really cool movie with a lot of cool scenes and concepts, and I'm really glad that it exists. I just wished it didn't have as many issues as it did. And that it didn't play it safe as much as it did, because this thing, at the end of the day, had the potential to be a masterpiece, to be honest. I'm going to give A Quiet Place a 3.5 out of 5. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.